Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Tuesday, September the 9th, this beautiful year of our Lord, 2025. This is, I believe, my first gospel, or sorry, my first church at home in my home office. I have finally, after a year and a half, managed to sort of get myself settled, and it is a great feeling. It's a little chilly in here. For whatever reason, this basement doesn't seem to have any heat, and the air conditioning has been on all summer and it's absorbed it. So I'm in need of an area rug and a few more blankets. I am sitting right now on my star blanket, which I can pull over my shoulders and keep me warm. This is a star blanket that was given to me when I was consecrated a bishop, and it was given to me by the elders from Opaskwayak Cree Nation. And it is an incredible, incredible privilege to be given such a gift. And so when I sit here in this chair, this is where I say my daily office. Now that my office is complete, the daily office, for those of you who aren't um, church goers on a regular basis, or don't dilly dally in the language of the Anglican Church or the Roman Church, a daily office is the daily prayer. So my morning daily office, my morning daily prayer. I come down here with a warm cup of coffee. Usually in the morning, it's a hot cup of coffee, and I light a candle and I meditate and I pray and I read devotions, and some of them are prayer books and the Bible. Some are devotions, like I've been using Bear Grylls, if you've been watching for a little while, Soul Fuel, or other things. And also, I try to take at least 10 minutes to read something theological. I'm a very busy person, and there's just a lot to do. And the way I set up my priorities is that the people take priority over the sitting down and reading part, and that may or may not be a good thing. We all need to continue our education, but for me, it's the people. I need to take care of the people, to be with the people, to pray with the people. So that is what I try my best to do, and hence I try to spend a dedicated 10 minutes every day with a timer so I don't get carried away and continue on and forget to live out the rest of my work, um, doing something from a book, a theological book that I'm reading. So that's what I'd like to do with you today, my first sort of inaugural church at home from my new office. But it's very much, I'm trying to sort of take a look back and reflect on what church at home is about and who I reach and what I'm doing, and sort of kick back and go old school. So for those of you who have been around from the beginning, I think it's been just over 4 years. It might not be quite 4 years now. Um, no, it's been more than four. Sorry. I started it in the fall of 2020 because of um, because of COVID. Not being able to be in my churches beginning at the end of November, I started doing a daily check-in, and that turned into doing this for, so coming up on 5 years, I guess. And so I'm going to take a sip of my tea from the mug I have had since the beginning. As if you remember from the early days, I always had this. Dude would be kicking around here. Skunk is not with me because she's terrified of the stairs, and we're taking advantage of her terror for a little while longer, because once she's down here, she'll rule this level of the house as well. So they're just quiet for now. I'd like to share with you, this is taken from an essay called Why Mission, Why Now, Why Here, written by John Bowen, who is an evangelist. He is an incredible priest to the Anglican Church of Canada, connected to Wycliffe College, and he has edited a book called Green Shoots Out of Dry Ground, Growing a New Future for the Church in Canada. And this is from this essay that he has written. And he talks about the trade school of Jesus. He says, in the language of the church, we are used to calling these followers of Jesus disciples, but that word has little meaningful content in our world. Maybe a better word for their role would be apprentices. Jesus is like a master craftsman in the work of the kingdom, and the disciples are his apprentices, learning kingdom trades by watching him at work, asking him questions, and gradually being initiated into the work themselves. Once we see that at its heart, church consists of the spiritual descendants of those disciples Jesus' first apprentices, this realization triggers a whole new way of imagining church. Baptism is all about our own response to Jesus' call to repent and believe. Baptism is a commitment to reconfigure our lives in order to put God's kingdom first. I think I love what he's saying about the language of disciples not working really well these days, but apprentices are. I don't know about where you're living. I know we've got somebody from Australia and somebody from Europe and England and people, all kinds of people from the States and Canada. But in Canada, we are beginning to recognize the need not to be rid of our universities, not to say that the academia and the things that the work that comes out of them, the studies, the professionals, the white collar people who graduate from our hallowed halls of learning from our universities and university colleges, we still need them. But we have put too much of an emphasis on that part of the world. And for a long time, sort of turned away from the whole trades, those who go to college, those who take trade school, they're plumbers and electricians, the mechanics, the people who do HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, all of these things that we're beginning to recognize they are as important in our world as the other professions. Like, we know that we need doctors, we need nurses, we need people who go and study in universities and do specific things. We cannot be without them. We're learning that the hard way because we don't have enough. But we also are learning that what good is a doctor in your life if you need a doctor and you're not feeling well, you're not healthy, and you need a doctor to help you feel better, but part of your not feeling well means that you're nauseous or you have diarrhea or something. What happens when your plumbing doesn't work? Or as if you have a chill and your doctor's like, well, you got a cold, you got to work through it, drink lots of hot fluids and chicken soup and drink lots of water and things like that. But what good is it if your heat breaks down and you're not just chilled inside your body, but your actual outside of your body is cold too? Or your car breaks down and you can't get to the doctor. We are recognizing that we need the trades. We need them as much as we need the other things. We need all of the people to do all of the things. And in the trades, I think personally we should be referring to each other in the professional world too as apprentices, because we all have to learn from other people. We all have to shadow or be interns and things like that. There are opportunities for us to shadow and learn from another. But in the trades in particular, they refer to it as apprentices, just as Bowen is talking about Jesus. And I think that language changes things. For me to go and say to people when I go visit them, or if I'm talking to somebody in a coffee shop and they ask me, like, what does a bishop do? I tell them, well, I talk to people about Jesus. I encourage them to have a relationship with Christ. Me talking about the disciples, unless they've watched The Chosen or, they've actually had a background in the church way a long time ago, they might know what disciples are. But a disciple almost sounds cultish these days, doesn't it? The disciples of that guy over there who did the weird things. Maybe we need to start using the word apprentice. Although it just occurred to me that there was a thing called the apprentice. How about we reclaim that word for what it really is? Apprentices are people who follow a master. And the other apprentice that I'm just realized as I'm talking for the red-headed, orange-headed thing down south, um, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the real apprentice. An apprentice as someone who takes seriously their desire to learn something so well so that they can help other people in whatever it is that they're learning to do, that they choose to follow and learn from and sometimes even mimic the master, someone who is just that good, someone who is really, really known to be the one person who does this extremely well. That's who people flock to go and watch. It would be like watching Carey Price put on a clinic for how to be a goaltender, or Connor McDavid teaching kids how to play hockey. He could be the master, teaching them the best ways to do things, and they are the apprentices. They are the ones who are learning. And that really is what we are all called to do. I am apprentice, still forever will be, of learning how to do YouTube videos. And there are people that I can follow and learn from them and hopefully get a bit better as time goes on. There are people who are apprentices to clergy who come in as students to learn from them. There are people probably in your life who look to you as the master, as the one who can teach them how to do something. Maybe it's a hobby that you do, quilting or painting or, um, whittling, carving. It could be mountain biking or going on hikes or bird watching. Whatever it is you do, that when someone else comes along beside you and says, teach me what you do, you become the master as they're the apprentice. And then it's amazing what happens when we start to recognize that if someone looks to us as master, we want to be better at what we're doing. So it's a perpetual learning cycle, isn't it? And it's amazing too that once we recognize that we actually are good enough to be able to share somebody else, we do want to learn something. And sometimes, indeed, we can learn something from the one for whom we are the master, that we can become their apprentice. Apprenticeship is very much about a relationship. And I think that when we're talking about Jesus in the world today, maybe we need to start talking more in terms of apprenticeship versus discipleship. Use the language people can understand and use it appropriately, and that's half the battle. So, are you an apprentice of Jesus Christ? I certainly am. I have so far to go, but I'm glad to be on the road to learning. I hope you'll join me as an apprentice of Jesus. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachel. God bless you.